Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, ProLine. Must be 18 plus to bet in store, 19 plus online, and for Ontario residents only. Happy Monday to all of us who are joining us. I'm Lindsay Dunn, joined alongside, my co-host, Dan Riccio and Cabbie. And if you are watching, you will notice that Dan is no longer in like what looked like a prison bathroom, but in a dark shaded place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all the things,
I don't know.
How's the coffee in prison, brother?
Coffee in prison. It's not like the Spro's in Woodbridge. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, that's that much I know.
Dan, welcome home. You're back in Toronto, the GTA. Just real quick, because I am
it's
trying
nice.
to avoid
The sun
what
exists,
happened.
guys. I woke up this morning. The sun was shining. I haven't seen it in about 6 weeks in Vancouver under the rain. But no, all kidding aside, it's good to be back in Toronto, back for the holidays and beyond as we continue to cover the Leafs and Raptors and everything else here on Off the Roster.
Yeah, but that cloud of like darkness from Vancouver kind of traveled with you to Toronto. If we talk about Toronto sports teams for the most part, and what happened this weekend, the positive, guys, is that sports were played. That is lovely. The negative
that is great. That's great.
Yeah, if you are a Leafs fan,
if we're looking for positives, that's up there. It's high on the list.
Yeah, is that Leafs and Raptors dropped both of their back-to-back games. Leafs yesterday losing 5-1. They're 0-3 on the road in the road trip, but they're coming back to Toronto to take on the Penguins. But it is not looking great in Leafs land. Here is a look and listen to what John Tavares and William Nylander had to say about last night's loss.
Well, it's a choice. So you can either let things like that seep in, or you push back against it and choose to be confident and believe in one another and stick together. So we got a lot of hockey left to be played. Hasn't been going the way we want it to be going. So, you make that choice and, you're disappointed at the moment, but you regroup and get yourself ready for the next one and continue to believe in each other and know that we got a good team. We just got to continue to stay with it. Obviously, it's been a tough go, but, we make that choice.
What have you made of that? You look past.
Have you ever been through a stretch like this in your career?
Like with losing, I don't know if I felt like this before. Or I had a stretch like this. I'm not sure. I don't feel like I've had that in the NHL at least.
Man,
William Nylander, Mr. Positive. What?
Man, if there was ever a reason to sound the alarms, if William Nylander is starting to have his confidence shaken, then the Leafs are going through it a little bit right now. Like in his entire NHL career, I'm pretty sure we've never seen William Nylander quite like that, quite like showing any sign of vulnerability, unsuredness. That's not even a word, but when William Nylander is like, his biggest strength as a player is that he doesn't, he's not as affected by the market, or at least that's been the conversation around Nylander. And, it doesn't matter what's said about him. He's just who he is, and he goes about his day, and it doesn't bother him. It doesn't shake him at all. So now that we're seeing William Nylander get shaken at any level is rough. And we know he's been going through it on the ice individually and as a team as well.
In the spirit of award season, William Nylander, I should just acknowledge that he seems very melancholy, like he's in his bag. And also, like, this is 3 minutes after the game. So, you're going to get these guys at their rawest emotions. But in the spirit of award season, films that generally release in December for the Academy's consideration, Leonardo DiCaprio stars in a brilliant movie called One Battle After Another. This can be said of all 82 of Toronto's games. So it is a challenge to venture as deep as DiCaprio did in Inception, to go 3 and 4 levels down to find some positives, which I have unearthed. I have to go into the dreams of the fan base to find some positives, and I want to highlight 3 players over the weekend in the 5-1 loss to Dallas and the 5-3 loss to Nashville. 5-3 loss? 5-2 loss? 5-3 loss to Nashville. Bobby McMahon. Continues to be a bright spot in the middle of the lineup. He had a nice feed to Nick Waugh to open the scoring on Saturday in Nashville. He had a blistering wrist shot from the right circle that cut the deficit to 4-3. His ability to win puck battles and drive to the net provided a much-needed secondary scoring punch. And we're seeing that the depth scoring has balanced out the top tier, the top level scoring. It's almost like Toronto, to use a movie reference, Toronto is an ensemble cast versus a movie that's led by one or two great stars. It's like Toronto is Knives Out, but they need to be Ocean's 11. You know what I mean? Like I need, Matthews to be Clooney, Nylander to be Brad Pitt, Matthew Nyes is Matt Damon, and the heist is getting, I guess the heist at this point is just getting to the playoffs versus like the bigger heist, which would be winning the Stanley Cup. But I want to acknowledge Bobby McMahon and shout out to you, Dan. McMahon is like Toad eating a star. I got two more because the dude is the fastest. He's the fastest guy on the team and one of the fastest players in the league. Nick Robertson is contributing he's registered his first 2-assist goal. Had to go back into hockeyreference.com for his first 2-assist goal in his career. And he was instrumental in that opening goal against in setting up Nick Waugh against Nashville. And as you mentioned, Dan, a couple of weeks ago, whenever Nick Robertson is a healthy scratch, he returns to the ice with a fury. The dude is flying around like the blue avatar in 3D. So salute to Nick Robertson. I'll end there because I know it's grim and I know the fan base is despondent, but there are some positives to be found over the weekend. Not very many, but there are some positives, and listen, we like to go deep here, and
we're reaching deep into the four depths of Inception here, Cap.
we are. It's the ski hill scene right now in Inception, and there's an avalanche behind, but we're it's only December. I'm gonna lean on that. We've got a couple days till Christmas. It's only December.
If only I got that reference, man. I've never seen that movie, so.
Oh, what?
It's going to sweep the award show. Come on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait.
You haven't seen Inception, or you haven't seen One Battle After Another?
Both.
Oh.
So what's positive is I will go watch them after this show, and I'll be feeling great watching this, and I'll be able to talk about it with you guys. Cabbie, don't worry. There's positives in life. I'm going to have my mind blown watching those movies. Hey, let's keep it positive. Because
can we not watch a Dolly Parton flick for the 75th time over, Linz, and maybe get with the times, or no?
If you want to get a jab at me, it would be. Yeah, if we're going to take a jab at me, it would be the fact that in my mind, I took offense when you referenced Ocean 11. You didn't reference the OG one with the Rat Pack, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, Joey. Like, come on. They are the OG. That was they did the original. But anyways, guys, we got to stay on track a little bit. We can make fun of me all day because trust me, it is fun. I do it all the time. But the Leafs, we're going to go a little negative because yes, Nylander, he hasn't scored in 11 games. When you look at the top 5 paid forwards for the Leafs, they've had 1 goal, 0 assists in the last 3 games. They are last in their division. It is a rough time, and you better believe in Toronto fans. Last night and this morning, they're waking up with a question. Craigie B's job. He's on the hot seat. How long is he going to have this job? And I'm going to say right now, I do not think firing the head coach is going to change the face of this organization and the franchise. Yes, we saw it with Mike Babcock, and we've seen it with other teams that they get a coach, firing bump in the standings, but that's not the biggest issue we're seeing around this team. And from what I'm hearing around people that are actually with the team every day is that the team, they actually like Craig. You can't compare him to Babcock, who just seemed to be a terrible person in that locker room. There's bigger issues there. And we're talking about whether it be motivation. They know they're not playing well, and there is still a will and desire to try to get to that playoffs. But Dan, how close do you think Craig is to potentially losing his job? And is that the answer?
I don't think it is the answer, but his seat is pretty much molten lava right now. Like it is on fire, and I'm not sure, there's any way around it because the Leafs are they're at a crossroads right now. They're at a crossroads of their season, and Brad Treliving as their general manager, he's the guy that is going to decide which path they go down right now. And the choices are, okay, I can see where this takes us, see if we can dig ourselves out of this, not try to pull anything, just see which road this takes us down. Do we sink farther into the depths of the National Hockey League standings, or does the team finally start finding its groove and play like we expected them to play coming into the season? Maybe the power play gets going. Matthews becomes a little bit more consistent. William Nylander scores for the first time in a month or however long it's been. And things start to turn around for the Leafs. And then there's this other path that they can go down. And that is try to pull a lever, try to give the team something to give them a jolt and make a trade, change the coach. One of those types of levers that a manager can pull, a GM can pull to get his team going in season. The most obvious one, it's easier to fire the coach than it is to make a trade, as we've seen in the National Hockey League for many years. So that's more likely the road they go down. But you think about this season, they've already made a bunch of trades last year. Their first round pick doesn't even belong to them. It belongs to the Boston Bruins. That could be a disaster waiting to happen. This feels like a moment right now where you don't make that move. You don't try to give this team an out. You just see where this goes. Because if you do end up with a top 5 pick, you can regroup to next year, and maybe you've got another stud that's going to join the core with John Tavares, William Nylander, and Austin Matthews for years to come. That is, if we want to look for a positive, if this is where it's going to go down, that would be the positive. That would be the carrot at the end of the road for Maple Leafs fans if the season does end up going that way.
I'm just trying to take a breath after that, because that is a major reality check. And for everyone right now joining us live on YouTube underneath the Nation Network, we are live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The chat is going off. One of them saying like, hey, can we fire the players? And they're like, what kind of trades can we move? They're bringing up the draft. So it is a grim time right now. And the next game that they have is against Sid the Kid, all-time points leader now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just going to make sure I get that one right. But it's
shout out to Mario
like,
Lemieux. Like, the guy still looks great. You know, he sent out that video to Sid, and man, Super Mario still looking dapper, man. Appreciate it. It's pretty good. Respect.
We need to, when we get him on the show, we need to ask him what character he played in Mario Kart, because like, no way it was Toad. We're going to reference deep cut back then, but obviously it is a grim time right now. And I like to get rid of the coach also before Christmas. I know a lot of these players have this little break circled on the calendar. They have a couple days off before they have to get back at it, but they do play Pittsburgh tomorrow. Is this a must-win game, or are we at the point where every game is a must-win game now?
Yeah, every game is a must-win game. Well, it's not must-win in the literal sense, but I mean, just look at the standings, right? And not to be such a downer on it during the holiday season, but you look at the standings, the Leafs have dropped to second from the bottom in the Eastern Conference. So only Columbus is lower than the Maple Leafs. Buffalo's gotten hot. You know, they got their new GM. They're getting their new GM bump, I guess. And, you know, they're now 3 points up on the Leafs and playing a lot better brand of hockey to boot. So now that you're looking at it, you're looking at the standings. And this is kind of the point that I'm getting at, is you're getting into a territory where it's going to be very hard to climb up through all the teams that you have to get through. And the most important thing you can do as a team is make that decision. And there's power in deciding which path you're going to go down. And we saw it with the Bruins last year. Once they realized, hey, this is not our year. We've got all these injuries. Guys are underperforming. This is a reset year for us. And I think the Leafs are getting close to that sort of decision where, okay, it's not must win in that, you know, your playoff lives depend on it here in December, but every loss gets them closer to making that decision that it's time to just say, okay, this is a reset year for us.
I guess internally, I wonder, like, what are the options though? Like, what are, and we are obviously not privy to the conversations that Tree is having with the coaching staff, or having conversations with the players in confidence. I have no idea, but you know, I remember the new coach bump that like Edmonton experienced when they fired Jay Woodcroft and elevated Chris Knobloch from the AHL team, and then they go to the Stanley Cup final 2 seasons in a row. Obviously, they have 2 of the 5 best players in the world on that squad, so the talent disparity is different than this particular situation. But without us really knowing what conversations are having, I guess we're just like the rest of the fan base, just speculating. But what are the solutions, though? Like, who do you, if you replace Craig Berube as the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, then who are you elevating into that role? And like, who will the players not respect, but who will they respond to if the team feels like Berube has lost the room? And I don't know that for certain. I just know that the guys are looking forward to this 72-hour break to kick their feet up and not think about hockey and watch some football and some basketball, and then get back to it on Boxing Day. It's like they're sprinting. The whole league is sprinting towards this break, but these guys are like tripping over their skates, unfortunately.
I think we need to do exactly what was suggested in the chat right now. We need to have an energy drink and a donut, bring the vibes up. I don't know if that is going to happen. I just want to reference 2 things happening in the chat right now, just because we are talking in real time with fans of the Toronto Maple Leafs and people that watch the team. German Fine Car saying, we can't score anymore. We can't keep the puck out of our net anymore. We can't forecheck or back check or stand up for each other anymore. This team is done. Little Willie Style saying the Leafs need to win. And someone said maybe they should start playing Gloria over the PA system. So Leafs Nation.
But you gotta play Umberto Tozzi version. Let's just get that out of the way, okay?
How's that different?
Put that on record.
We're not going to go down that road right now.
No, it's too early for that for you. So we're looking at hopefully seeing the Leafs bounce back, looking for some positivity and hope. By the way, Darryl Sittler, former Leafs captain, the legend, he will be on the show later, as well as Canadian professional basketball player Kyle Alexander, who has a really neat new show out with NBA star and his buddy Jamal Murray. So we'll talk to them, still coming up, but we got to talk a little bit hoops. And hey, the positive 905 are in the G League Winter Showcase. 16-0, baby. I was terrified we jinxed AJ Lawson after we spoke to him last week. You can watch the interview on our YouTube, but they're doing great. That's a positive. But when you look at the big club, as the kids like to call it, woof. I try to be positive about everything. I know we all do, but they also dropped back-to-back games. 2 consecutive games they were held within under 100 points. 81 points they were held to in Brooklyn. Yes, they had some mechanical issues with their flight, much like Dan did to try to get to Toronto. But the Buds, when they were going to Brooklyn, they only got to their hotel at 5 a.m. after losing to the Celtics at home. When you watch the Celtics game, they were extremely out-rebound. They had 55-37, and they give up 17 offensive boards, which you can clearly see they are missing Jakob Poeltl. And Jakob Poeltl, he tried to play yesterday, and he played a massive 6 minutes and 36 seconds. Unfortunately, he had to leave the game, and Darko said after that, he said to him that, the pain he was feeling, it was just too much for him to get through. So after the loss, which was pretty bad in Brooklyn, here's what Emmanuel quickly had to say.
Be desperate. Do whatever it takes to get a win. For us to even, we're not gonna make no excuses. Late, not part of the NBA. So you gotta weather those storms.
81 points is the second lowest total that they have had so far this season. Before that, it was 79 points to the Los Angeles Clippers, which, by the way, if you think it's rough in Raptors land, it could always be worse. The Clippers losing another player to injury, and they just keep losing. So, Dan, effort is a word being brought up surrounding the Toronto Raptors, who, yes, are without RJ Barrett. They were without Poeltl. They had a back-to-back where they only got in at 5 a.m. I'm tired thinking about it. When you look at this team and the performance, what was your takeaway?
I think this team is trying to find itself right now. They had their 9-game win streak earlier this season, and it was like, okay, the Raptors have turned a corner. And since that win streak, and it coincides with RJ Barrett going down with injury, and of course, Jakob Poeltl struggles, there's reasons for it, but it also is a reminder like, hey, this team is still finding itself. It's still finding its identity. And to be frank, they're not quite yet talented enough where they can win on a night-to-night basis without their full effort. You know, we always have the cliche of like, hey, great teams can even win on nights where they don't have their A game. Well, the Raptors are still trying to elevate themselves to that great team status. They're still well above 500 this year, and things are going pretty good. They're progressing from where they have been in recent years, but I think this is that sort of next step that they're trying to take in how do we get more consistent with our performances and understand that this is what it's going to take to have a 50-win season or thereabouts in the Eastern Conference.
Those are great points, Dan. And one thing I do want to highlight as we do try to find some positives in our analysis of both the Toronto teams is we got to experience the Sandro Mamu Keshlavili experience.
Mamu!
He made his
I
fourth
love
start
that you went
of the
full
season.
Mamu there.
I did, yeah. It was the fourth start of the season against Boston in place of Jakob Poeltl, who Lindsay has mentioned, and we've discussed this as having chronic back pain this entire season. But he delivered a career high, career best, 24 points, shot 6 from 9 from downtown. Lefty! And, got to stretch the floor. It was great. 24 points. He had showed his range. And in that, not that this is much of a positive, but in that game against Boston, Toronto generally averages 32 three-pointers a game. They shot 47. Boston's like, shoot the threes. We're going to deny you at the rim, which is what they did. And it was expert because Toronto lost by 14, 16 points. Either way, we got to see the Mamu experience as a starter. And then in the Brooklyn game, the one positive to highlight is the third quarter lockdown. Third quarter seemed to be the magical quarter for Toronto. And when the defense locks in, Toronto is capable of shutting down their opponents for long stretches. They held Brooklyn to only 18 points in the third quarter, forced 5 turnovers. Toronto erased a 10-point deficit and went on a 20-7 run. So they are capable of turning it on. It seems like the third quarter is the time that they do it. But if Toronto and Darko can crack the code of how to have that consistent intensity over 48 minutes, then they will level up and then be back on the path to, end the season somewhere between 45 wins and 50 wins.
They really started up. Yeah, a couple positives. I'm sorry to be negative because then it did go, they did have such a rally and they did take the lead in that third, which is amazing. But in that first quarter, just kind of when that time was winding down to go into the second quarter, at one point they had more turnovers than they did baskets. It was a frightening stat to see. And this is when there was about 2.5 minutes left. So that's showing just how bad their turnovers were and how they were handling the ball. And it's quite clear that they're really struggling offensively rebounding without Yak. And sometimes you'll see the guys just kind of standing there and there doesn't seem to be an effort. I'm not saying that there is not, but I thought a really interesting post-game quote happened from another team yesterday, also in the New York area. The Knicks played the Miami Heat, and Coach Spoelstra, who is a future Hall of Famer, multiple champion head coach, he said that the difference between the Heat and the Knicks is that the Knicks have a will to win and that the Heat are learning that. They're working that right now, which I thought was a really interesting concept, and it was a really interesting quote from him. So do you guys think it is possible, and I know that I might be challenging a future Hall of Famer coach, that it is possible to learn the will to win? And I'm putting you on the spot right now, Dan, with this.
There's definitely ways that you can think about how they need to find a will to win. I think for me, it's more about finding consistency at the pro level and understanding what you have to do. And you hear athletes talk about this all the time, what you have to do to prepare yourself on a day-to-day basis to be able to put your best self on the court, on the ice, on the field, whatever it may be. And that's where I think, some of these younger teams like the Heat and the Raptors are still trying to catch up with the Knicks and the Celtics. And will to win, it can feel like, okay, the Raptors just don't have their effort tonight. They certainly didn't. I mean, 81 points in the year 2025 in the NBA. I mean, this isn't the 80s here or the 70s. Like, this isn't the all defense league. This is, we saw a game. There was a game with two teams over 150 last night. So it's a very different league. And for the Raptors to only score 81, they didn't have it. They didn't have the energy on the boards. They didn't have the energy on defense. Those are factors of getting yourself ready to play every night. And they were challenged with their flight situation, as you mentioned earlier. But, over the course of an 82-game season, there's always going to be things that, provide a speed bump for you to find a way to get over. And that's what the Raptors are currently looking for. Whether you call it will to win, consistency, I think it's kind of all of the above for me.
Consistency is key, obviously. And all they have to do is just look back to November. They've been there before in tight games and been able to come out victorious. And yes, the personnel was a little bit different with RJ Barrett in the lineup and Jakob Poeltl healthier. But there are a lot of lessons to be learned in the losses, and they're still developing young players. CMB had a nice game. He was a +7 against Brooklyn. I mean, I know it wasn't like +22 when Jamal shed against, I think it was it the Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks. Like there are degrees and levels to it, but they just really need to look back at, like 3 weeks ago. Like, they were cooking. And it is a long season. As Dan mentioned, it's 82 games. It is a roller coaster, and there are going to be growing pains. This is a growing pain stage of the calendar. It's December. It kind of sucks. It's cold in Canada. The plane arrives. These things happen, but there's a lot of promise to this squad, and I'm not ready to close the door yet and say, all right, well, let's, I'm going to join, some despondent members of the fan base, just tear it down to the studs. I'm not there. I'm nowhere near there. I'm like, there's still 4 months of regular season basketball to play. Things will turn around.
Yes, we're going to keep it positive, and I'm going to nerd out over two things that are positive surrounding this team. And like I mentioned, Raptors 905, they are playing in Orlando tonight in the finals for the Showcase Cup, which this franchise has never been in before. They have not been beaten yet this year. They're 16-0, but the reason I'm bringing this up, if people are listening, watching, and you do not care about the 905, that's okay, but they're in Orlando. The Raptors are already in Miami. I'm curious if Jonathan Mobo, who had a fantastic game on Friday for the 905, or AJ Lawson, or Elijah Martin, or Chucky Hepburn, they're going to get the call to the team to be like, hey, we need some help. Whatever kind of spark we can get from the bench, let's see how they're performing. And they're coming off of some very intense games with the 905 in the Showcase. So I'm really excited to see what could potentially happen with them there. And then two other things happened this weekend, guys. The first one was on Friday. We have this on our social media channels on Off the Roster Pod. On YouTube, it's under the Nation Network that Grady Dick, Jameson Battle, CMB, who's getting a shout out in our chat right now as well. Yeah. And I don't remember who else I said, Grady Dick, Jameson, Garrett, and CMB. They were all at the Covenant House speaking to the youth there. Some are on house. They're facing difficult situations in life, and they were serving them food. They made Christmas cookies with them. So that's positive that within the maybe 12 hours they were back in the city, they were spending time in the community. And then did either of you guys see Jamal Shed, where Shedheads and Scotty Barnes do the ballet where I think it was the Nutcracker? Did either of you see this clip?
I did not see this, no.
Oh, you know what, producer Nick, I know you're working on things right now. If we can get this for the end of the show, that would be awesome, but we'll see. So they actually went, I think it was the Nutcracker or something. The ballet does this every year where they invite people on. Maybe it'll be you two next year.
It's the Nutcracker, yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. And then
usually
they were on there.
The Leafs have had cameos. Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, of course. And so it's it's a 10 out of 10 performance from them there. And it's just, those are a couple positive things around this team. I know they're looking for an interesting game when they're in Miami, where CMB unfortunately had that kind of run in with Nico from Miami. So he will still be out. Tyler Hero looks like he will still be out. But there are rumors right now surrounding Miami that Tyler Hero, when he was pulled out of the game, just going into the Raptors game, that everyone thought he was going to be traded for Kawhi in a package deal. So the vibes around Miami right now, you guys, they're also really interesting.
Not great
we'll
either.
See, but
yeah, not great either.
That's the thing. It's like, hey, it can always be worse in different scenarios in life. And it's just this is like, I don't want to even have this conversation, but I will bring it up because we are a Toronto-based show. We're talking about Toronto sports, and some fans have been trickling this down in different boards. Well, we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that seat is hot surrounding Craigie B and his head coach. They're bringing up Darko Rajakovic, who is in his third year, I believe, for the Toronto Raptors. And hey, they had a really great stretch, and now they're wondering, like, should there be a potential coaching change, or is this something that they look at? I'm like, let's pump the brakes on this, boys. Let's pump the brakes. I do not think that Darko Rajakovic needs to go anywhere soon. It does not seem like he's lost the locker room, but like, I are you guys surprised that this chatter is going on? I guess it's a Toronto sports thing that when a team usually loses 2 games, we're like, fire the head coach.
Yeah, I think it's a sports in general. It's like growing up watching the Italian Serie A. If a coach loses 2 games in a row, it's like, you're out of here. And then they go through so many coaches over the course of the year. They brought back the guy that started the season because apparently his message wasn't so bad initially that they needed to bring him back. Like the 3 other guys that they brought in between didn't work either. Maybe it's a team problem. I don't know. But the fire the coach thing, it's just, in pro sports, it's generally easier to do that than it is to trade the player or trade a player to try and get something to get a push out of your group, the new coach bump, as we like to say. And I just, any talk about Darko and his seat, I like his seat is maybe lukewarm at best, because the Raptors are just very much in a different state right now, like from where the Maple Leafs are. This is a growing team. This is a team that's been building and are continuing to build towards a contending window, whereas the Maple Leafs, they have been in a contending window for a long time. They brought in Craig Berube to get this team over the top, and instead they've taken a step back. And that's the big contrast between the 2 head coaches for me right now.
One of Coach Darko's hallmarks is he is elite at developing younger players. And Jama Mahala, I'm butchering his last name. I'm so sorry, Jama. He's also one of these guys that's known in NBA circles to help develop young talent. Toronto has a bunch of young talent. Like, it would be, and I don't think Bobby Webster, learning from Masai, these guys aren't impulsive decision makers. These guys are very careful and thoughtful in their process and in their evaluation of the team. And listen, fans are erratic. They're irrational. They just want, it's the microwave generation. They want to change right away, but no, there's a process. And I believe that they are recognizing this process, and they have milestones to hit in player development and obviously in wins and that sort of thing. And if these milestones aren't met, then maybe they'll reevaluate. But I don't think anybody on this show, I know, and no one on this show is clamoring for Darko to go anywhere, nor are we clamoring for Craig Berube to lose his job too, because we just don't have that institutional knowledge about what's going on at 40 Bay Street in that dressing room, in the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room, or at the OVO Performance Center, what's going on in the Raptors locker room. So I think we're all just like, we're looking at it from a distance. We're going to watch carefully, obviously, but no one over here is making rash decisions as far as coaching personnel and replacing coaches at this point. We're going to sit back.
Heck no. Yeah. And Jama Malalela is a G. He used to be the head coach for Raptors. I know.
There it is.
I know that. Malalela.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Lindsay.
We went Amu and full Jama today. I love it.
I appreciate the effort, but it's great. It's interesting. And the thing is, I don't know if I said this last week or may have said it to you guys when we weren't recording, is we are so lucky to be in the Darko Rajakovic era, because I had no beef with Dwayne Casey or Nick Nurse, but I just remember the end of Nick Nurse's tenure. The players really were not responding to how he treated them and spoke with them, and his public freakouts along the sidelines and just kind of the call outs. Whereas you always hear from Darko, it's a call up. You can see him giving his players a chance, which we never really saw with Casey, when it's like, hey, we're going to give the rookies a chance to play. You're seeing Darko trying things. He's giving all these guys minutes. He's trying to encourage them. I remember when Malachi Flynn, yes, shout out to Malachi Flynn, was with the Raptors, that there was this moment that we were all speaking to him, and Malachi said, Darko pulled him aside and said he wanted to see him smile while playing basketball. He wants him to enjoy playing basketball and bring that back, because if anybody remembers the Malachi Flynn under the Nick Nurse era, it wasn't the most positive experience for him. But I do want to quickly show, if anybody is by chance watching us on YouTube right now or X, that this was a little photo and moment of Jamal Shed and Scotty Barnes when they were performing in the Nutcracker. And I do think, they went.
Man.
This was like the perfect casting.
Nice.
Just by even looking at this stance alone, if you are watching on the podcast, it just like they're so into it. That they were the perfect guys to cast for this. Like,
so full like elf regalia.
Uh-huh.
They're standing between someone holding a cannon, and they're dressed like performers in whenever the Nutcracker was written in 18 whatever. It was written by like a Russian composer, right? I can't remember, but they're like the expression on Scotty Barnes' face is almost like he just hit a 3-pointer. Huge $1 million smile on his face, and Jamal Shed looks like he's embodying the role, like he's acting from the inside out versus outside in. He's poised, he's measured, and he's taking in this moment. I mean, this is just a photo. This is not the whole. We don't know how the 60-second cameo went, but these guys are fully into it right now. They're into the performance.
Well, as a former theater student myself, the biggest thing, just bring energy when you're on stage. You'll look good. If you bring energy, and clearly these guys did, you're going to fit in just fine. And that's like, look at the energy out of Scotty is just oozing. It looks like he just, went for a dunk and got the and one on top of it. And he's just fired up about it.
And the person in between the players, with the holding a cannon, is wearing like an old school, like a giant gray beard. So this person is, I don't know, representing a character that's like 80 or 90, and they're wearing this hat that kind of looks like a beehive, but it's ornate. It's red and silver, and it's got these stripes on it. Anyway, really nice art direction and costume design in this production here. Salute to whomever is working on this show. And last thing, Dan, you don't strike me as having theater kid energy. I know you said you took a theater class, but you don't. Was it just a class, or have you done years? Lindsay has some theater kid energy. I don't really.
Oh,
see
never
you
went.
having theater kid
Yeah.
energy. Never went.
I'm not a theater kid.
Well, I guess it was a stealth theater kid, or maybe I've lost it in the last 20 years. But did a semester at Humber College
down in Vancouver.
That's pretty much it. It was a semester at Humber College out on Kipling and Lakeshore. So shout out to them. And then I dropped out and got into this wonderful business. And then before that I was in stuff like bunch of weird things like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Dracula, and all these kinds of stuff.
Oh,
guys, it's a much different day for Dan Riccio than it is today.
We're going to get into this in a moment, because when we talk about bringing the performance, bringing the energy, there is a new show that debuted on YouTube on Friday called Mandemonium. And let me tell you, it's being described as born from years of group chat trash talk. The Mandem family decided to put their talents where the Mel's are. Take a listen and watch a bit of the trailer.
Anyone can talk.
It's going to be bad for them.
Anyone can call themselves the best.
The best soccer player, the best football player.
But what happens when 6 brothers take their trash talk off the screen and put it to the test?
Welcome to the Mandemonium game.
And the trash talk gets reality checked.
I just hope they can perform.
When pride gets tested and someone has to hug the truth.
Pros versus Joe. And I'm the Joe.
6 friends, 2 days, 13 events, 13 chances to prove who really stands at the top.
I love y'all boys. It's time to get cooked.
Because this is
the person that you saw at the end, you may recognize from his time in the NBA, CEBL, representing Team Canada, to being his time with Tennessee. But can we show another graphic we have? Maybe being MVP. Yeah, that's what's up. Kyle Alexander, thank you for joining us today. I immediately need to just get into this because I've interviewed you for a number of years. So when I see this trash talk and you're saying it's time to get cooked, I know you as a saint. So talk to me about Kyle Alexander as part of this series.
No, it's well, thank you guys very much for having me on here. I appreciate it. No, the series has been really fun, man. Obviously, I met these guys, they're my brothers. I met them back in 2013 at Orangeville Prep. We all spent 2 years there together. And so that's 12, going on 13 years now of just rivalry that we just decided, we got to do something about all this and put an end to the chatter. So this was the result, was Mandemonium.
for those listening, can you break down who's in the show?
Yes. So all my closest friends from Orangeville Prep, we got Jamal Murray, obviously Denver Nuggets. We got Josiah Riley, former roommate. We have Jelani Mofford, Alonzo Walker, and then we also have Yao Antwi Bostiaco, who is a roommate from Josiah Riley at York University.
This is just amazing. I love this. So like the reaction to it's been great. I've read a lot of comments online, but do you think anybody had the biggest shift of their personality when the camera was on?
We got guys who are naturally just funny when they're off camera, but then something about the camera coming on, some guys, they don't show a little bit of that edge. But I'd say Yao definitely, and Jamal just naturally, when the cameras come on, he just performs. So I think those will be some fun people to watch.
So just seeing the trailer there, Kyle, it feels like a little bit of just like guys being dudes and being super competitive and what especially buddies love to do, right?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, like I said, 13 years of friendship, and all of a sudden, this, I think it was last October, just typical. I mean, you guys are probably used to it, just on the group chat FaceTime call. And I think we had gotten to something about, it was basketball, then that somehow segued to like who would win in a 100-meter sprint. And I was like, hey, you guys know, we could just settle this all this summer. And I'm starting a YouTube channel so we can film it all for the world to see. And they were like, yo, let's do it. There's going to be any excuses, no excuses, and no going back once the camera captures it. So
I think the fun part about it too, like trying to, like us normal folk, we can be competitive, but like guys who've been professional athletes, guys who are professional athletes, that's a different level of competitiveness, I would imagine, than what we're used to.
Yeah. I think when you have 4 out of the 6 friends who are professional athletes, things can get real chippy, especially once you start playing basketball, which is how we all met. And then especially, when you start adding other sports into the mix, like football. Yao, was an athlete who could have went to Division I basketball or Division I for football. So, that's big for him. I always, thought maybe I could have made a decent football player. So I think just when you have 4 professional athletes who do this for a living, it gets to the point where it's like, man, like this is going to be, you'd be surprised how competitive it really gets.
Kyle, in episode 1, you said you're listed at 6'11", and you said like it's hard, moving around in the world. And then you won the go-kart race. I don't understand physically how you're able to either find a go-kart with an extended cab or fit those giant legs inside the go-kart and then win. How did that happen, bro?
Man, I think you saw it, man. I had my knees in my chest the whole time, but
that's what I mean.
No, you get used to it, man. I mean, like I said, I'm 6'11". I said the world wasn't built for me. I'm sleeping fetal position in the bed. I'm squeezing in cars. Just used to just not being big enough for the world. So you learn to adapt. And go-karting, I mean, if anybody's ever done driving or anything like that, that like there's just tactics. You got to make sure you're not putting your foot on the brake, which a lot of people don't realize. You get to a steep curve or a turn and people want to put their foot on the brake. So just knowing, those little tactics really helped me out. And I only won by like 0.8 of a second. I mean, Jamal was right behind me. So
I think you mentioned something about being in Valencia, Spain, as something as like, I don't know, maybe you've learned how to drive more efficiently or tactically or something like that. When you lived in Spain, did you do the thing where they say Barcelona because that one king had a friggin' lisp and like everybody says Barcelona? Like, or do you just say Barcelona? Like, bleep that guy, that short king who had a speech impediment. Like, I'm saying Barcelona. I'm not saying Barcelona. What did you adapt to the way that the local Spaniards spoke their language and spoke in English?
Man, I wish I was walking around saying Barcelona. That sounds nice. I like that. No, I was just saying Barcelona with a C. I kept it real simple out there.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
Are we? Two more questions. Real quick. Sorry. Sure. When you were with, we were just referencing the Miami Heat earlier on the show, and they're going through it right now. Kind of the Raptors are going through it as well. When you were with the team, can you describe for us, you were in the building, what Heat culture looked like and a little bit about the testing? Because we hear about it, but it's rare to hear like specifically like whether it was like a burpee test or the beep test, like what you guys were going through as Heat culture as this great brand, and it's known throughout basketball as like a higher standard of excellence?
Man, honestly, I could probably talk about that for a while. It was a blessing to start my career there because of just how special that culture is. I don't think I'd be the level of a pro that I am now if I didn't start there. From everything from, body fat and body weight testing. I mean, certain dudes had in their contract, they had to be a certain body fat percentage. If they weren't, then they breached contract. At the beginning of every season, actually, there's a conditioning test. I think it's pretty famous by now. I think most people have heard of it, but there's a conditioning test that you have to do to be able to even participate. Or actually, no, I think if you don't pass, you can do training camp, but you have to do extra conditioning while in training camp. And essentially, it's like 5 down and back, so 10 touches. And if you're a big man, you have 1 minute and 2 seconds, so 62 seconds. If you're a guard, you have 60 seconds. And you have to do that 5 times. You have to do it 5 times in under 5 minutes. And it's infamous at the Miami Heat in their culture. And like I had to do that. And actually, when I was there, I actually won it that year. So look out for the.
Right, let's go.
Yeah. Look out for the 400 meter and the 60-yard sprint coming next episode. I'm the force to be reckoned with. But no, definitely the culture there is serious. They taught me how to eat well, how to eat properly, train properly, prepare. There's from their nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach, just the culture there is tremendous. Absolutely.
Last one for you. I remember here the first time I interviewed or met Jamal Murray was at Kentucky, and someone had told me that he didn't have a phone. Like Roger Murray, his dad was like real strict with Jamal in his training. Mother bleeping had to like dribble basketballs in the snow and go uphill, backward, dribbling. Like he was a real, like Roger was like Bruce Lee, I think was his North Star. And he's like, I'm going to make sure that this kid is, Jamal was like meditating before games, but which leads me to say, okay, he didn't have a phone in college. And in my experience with Jamal, the outgoing messages from me are at a certain volume, but the inbound messages from Jamal, very limited. So in the group chat, what role does Jamal play? Is he like the volume shooter with memes and links to videos, or is he the lurker, the one that just reads everything but never comments? Is he the one with the hottest takes and opinions, or is he the guy who's like the loudest in the chat as far as like just commentary? Like what kind of texter is Jamal Murray?
Oh man, I would say that's actually one thing that I appreciate about our friend group is we're not like glued to our phones. So I would say in the times that we do text, what people don't realize about Jamal is he's actually hilarious. So Jamal's actually a comedian, and so I would say he adds a very vital role in the group chat in that sense. And you're not wrong. That man's father raised him to be a mental warrior. Bruce Lee was like a big figure in their household, so witnessed that firsthand for sure.
Oh, nice. Salute to Roger Murray. He's a legend. I love that dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you the trash talker in the group chat, Kyle?
Man, I can get a little petty with it at times. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Right now. Well, yeah, I'll say in the. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I will say on like as a professional basketball player, I tend to be a little quiet. Actually, people get on me a little bit too much for that, saying that when I dunk on people, I gotta talk a little bit more. But when it comes to my friends, people that I'm close with, and I can really get under the skin, I'm a little more petty in that sense. Yeah, for sure.
I love learning this right now because that's when like you were so quiet. We hear it all the time, and that's where I was going to go. Like I am shook right now, and all I know is that means I'm going to be trash talking you over text because I know that you can deliver the heat. You can be petty. I have no game, so I'm sorry.
As long as you don't mind it being dished back, we good.
I can handle the heat. But for Dan and Cabbie, they don't know. The first time I actually interviewed Kyle he was in the bubble with the Heat back in 2020, and he was learning how to play the keys. He was trying to be John Legend. So every time I'm going to talk to you, are you still tickling the ivory?
I am actually. So I'm here in Turkey right now. I had a piano teacher last year. He moved, but he just texted me, told me he's coming back. So we're going to start those up again for sure.
Oh, yes. Awesome, man.
Nice.
Next time you're on, you will be performing a concert for everybody listening. We appreciate you. Come on, you got time. But
I got
You
time.
can find the series
We're
under
getting
his
homework?
YouTube under. Yeah, of course I'm giving him
I
homework.
don't mind it. I don't
I've
mind
always,
it. I don't mind
yeah.
it.
Okay.
Come on, because also this is going to give the people the next time he's on, we know we're going to get a little song from him. And until then, you can go follow the series under Kyle in the Kingdom on YouTube. How many episodes can we look forward to so far this season, Kyle?
5 total, so 4 more on the way.
Awesome.
And when does the
It
next
was
one
great.
drop? Sorry?
First episode was great, bro.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Next episode will be Friday.
Yes,
Every Friday.
Yes. Oh, a belated Christmas gift. Well, Kyle, we appreciate your MVP stature joining us right now. Congratulations on the show. We can't wait to have you on next. We're going to be playing a little song for everybody. We appreciate you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Peace on me.
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle Alexander with the great show on YouTube called, I got to make sure, Mandemonium Games. It is entertaining. It is fun. And I feel like this is something we need to try with our show. I'm very competitive. And I am trying to calm down on the group chat because we all are recent best friends, but I am a high volume shooter with memes and stuff. So I'm like trying to be like, don't get
Listen,
blocked.
Dan,
from the
if
group
Lindsay
chat.
loses, she's off the roster. Like this
that's
might
right.
be we might be diabolical with this approach, bro. She's planting
We
a
might have
seed.
to-
Whoever loses is
Yeah,
off
might-
the roster.
It might have to be a lethal sort of games. You know, we got to have some stakes in it, like it's Squid Games or something like that, right?
Yeah, let's be real.
No deaths,
I'm not
but
losing.
death on the
I'm
show,
winning
man.
this.
You're not losing.
All I do is
Guess
win,
we'll
win,
see.
win. Come on. That song was wrote about me. All she does is win, 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 except for when it comes to singing. But when it comes to winning, obviously the Leafs aren't doing this right now. We do have a lovely moment with Darryl Sittler. I had the chance to interview him on Friday. And the reason why I'm setting this up, because I know in the comments you're going to be like, why didn't you ask him about the Leafs losing? Because I think that's what people sound like sometimes in the chat. I don't know. But there was a couple games that needed to be played. So I couldn't grill him. Yeah, I couldn't, talk about that. There's a lot of moments happening in his life that's coming up that will be celebrated. And the interview happened at, I got to think of Sherway Gardens. Let's make sure we get them all right. Sherway Gardens, MLSE has a pop-up there, and it's really exciting where they've brought in different athletes, whether it be Darryl Sittler, Jacoby Walter, to Cujo, and the lineup for Darryl went around and around and around, and that pop-up is still there where you can see a lot of the merchandise that you can buy. They've got gift wrapping, all the good stuff. I believe Dan does not have a gift for his wife, so maybe hit that up. But anyway, Darryl Sittler, here's a moment from our chat that happened. What's it like meeting fans, some of them bringing unique items like chairs from Maple Leaf Gardens?
Well, I've been around for a while here now, and I know how much the Maple Leafs and hockey means to fans. And if you have a collector's piece, I have a few myself, and you have a special moment to get a personalized, get a picture with it. I'm sure that it makes somebody happy. They put it in their home and it becomes a talking piece and something they can hand down to their family later on in their life.
So what in your house do you have as a talking piece from your days? You have a lot of options.
Well, I have a few. I was fortunate when I played junior hockey in London. They gave me my game-worn London Knights jersey, which is back in the 60s. I have my first NHL contract that I signed, $15,000 a year, believe it or not. And the first goal I scored in the National Hockey League, I got the puck for that, and a few jerseys along the way. So they're all nice things to have and to keep. And the 50th anniversary of the 10-point game is coming up, and my wife, my late wife, Wendy, had kept her tickets from that game. So I have those, which is pretty special, in a program from that night.
That 50th anniversary, I'm sure, has not been brought up to you every day for the last 49 years, 11 months. When you think about the celebration that's going to happen and just truly what it's meant to people and that no one has got anywhere near breaking that record, what's it been like for you to celebrate this the last 49.9 years?
Well, I guess when it first happened, I never realized the magnitude or how long it would last. I often felt in the late 70s, early 80s, when Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux were having their careers getting 200-300 points a year, not 300, but 200 points a year. I thought they were the two guys to break it. They both had 8 a few times. So here we are, 50 years coming up. I was proud to do it in Leaf uniform against an original 6 team, the Boston Bruins. And it's nice. I mean, a lot of people obviously weren't around 50 years ago, but it's nice to bring it to the limelight. There's been a lot of nice things happen between now and then, and to continue to celebrate and be recognized is important. The Leafs are doing a nice gesture in bringing the players who played with me in that game in late January for a game, and it'll be nice to catch up with all of them also.
You mentioned your first NHL contract being a steep $15,000. Do you remember one of the luxurious purchases or first things you bought with that?
You know what? I'm one of those guys. I was kind of a frugal guy. I never knew how long I would play. So 15 grand sounded like a lot of money to me back then. And I just put it away. I'd always drive a used car or, and not spend a lot of money on myself and anything. So, hey, I put it in the bank and tried to make it grow for me.
That's a smart man, though. Everyone should be taking that advice.
Well, when I say I made 15 grand a year back then, I bought my first house for $38,000, and rather than pay rent, I remember I had a mortgage for $338 a month, and I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to get through this? But times change.
Yeah, you can't even get a parking spot for $38,000. My goodness.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, or leave season's tickets out.
Which I know a lot of people have on their Christmas this year. When we talk about gift giving, when you were playing, did you guys ever have to have a secret Santa or give anyone a ridiculous gift?
I don't know about ridiculous, but I remember we've had a lot of fond memories as a team. The Leafs would have their annual Christmas party. It would be skate at Maple Leaf Gardens, and our kids were all young and got some nice black and white pictures. Harold Ballard used to be the Santa Claus. Johnny Bauer was the Santa Claus many times. And we got some old footage of those sorts of memories. And it wasn't so much about the gift. It was about the people getting together and celebrating what it was all about.
Johnny Bauer with one of my favorite Christmas tunes. Did you ever think about releasing your own?
No, I'm not a singer, but yeah, Honky the Christmas Goose or something. And Eddie Shack, clear the track. Here comes Shack. Yeah, those are fun times.
Last thing I'll bug you about is obviously everyone's so excited to see you be around the sport of hockey, but I remember an iconic moment from you back in 2004. You made a cameo in Corner Gas. Are we ever going to see you on the smaller big screen again?
Well, that was fun. I flew out to Regina the night before, and I was taping early in the morning, so I didn't even get to meet the crew. I did my tape and whatever, and all these years later, it still comes. People who watch the show remind me of it. They gave me a Corner Gas hat, and I have that. I signed it, and I'll keep that as a nice keepsake.
Fun. And can you imagine just spending an afternoon just getting to the bottom of a bottle of whiskey with Darryl? Like the stories that guy could tell from the last 40 years, 50 years in hockey would just be amazing. I would just be like this the whole time. Like,
yeah.
More.
I was like that.
Nice job with that.
No, just like a fun little moment that happened. Cause I love like all of us, no matter what age we are, just seeing the people who met him, whether they were young or they could have been much more mature in age, like they were just so happy to see him and nervous. But after the interview, he actually went shopping around the store, which I just thought was the cutest moment. And I was like, yeah. Darryl Sittler is just shopping in the Fan Access Holiday Pop-Up at Sherway Garden. This is life. But I want to show you one of my prized possessions. I don't know if it's actually worth anything, but I did meet Johnny Bauer and I interviewed him, and I have the record. And it is signed.
Oh,
this
nice.
is his Honky the Christmas Goose.
That's crazy.
And I have it framed. So this is the single by Johnny Bauer. It's just grateful. And this is nerdy in life that I'm like, I got to have a conversation with Darryl, who I've met over and over again.
Wait, did you have that? Fun. Did you have that before the interview or after the interview? Then you went and you got it.
Oh no, like I met Johnny Bauer. I've had this for years. I've probably had this for well over a decade. And I met him in 2016 at, I think, a Leafs open practice. And I was interviewing him and I was talking to him about it. And then I've never asked anyone to sign anything except for this record. And I asked beforehand if it would be okay. And I said, this is just for me. And this is the only thing I've ever asked anybody to sign, because it's obviously very unprofessional. But it was Johnny Bauer signing this. And yeah, so nerdy moment. But anyways, that's a positive thing about the Leafs. We're going to try to keep it positive. Thank you. We're going to try to keep it positive.
It's right in line with your Chris Webber records and all of the things that we've seen over the last couple of weeks here.
Your tastes
I'm
are
glad
quite
you've got
eclectic.
You've got some Leafs flavor in the record collection as well. It's nice.
Ooh, I also have MLB flavor in there. We will get to that. I have a couple baseball players who have released music, and you better believe I have that. But I do listen to current music too, people. But we're going to keep it positive because we're going to try to win some people some money because it's the 416 ProLine pick time, which means when watching your favorite sports, make things interesting with ProLine. You must be 18 plus to bet in store, 19 plus to bet online. And for ProLine Plus, you must be in the province of Ontario. Please play responsibly. Dan, we'll start with you. Maybe a little NFL.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Monday Nighter to close out the week in the NFL. And George Kittle, he's kind of arrived now as the best tight end in football, or one of them. And not that he's arrived now, but after his injury, he's kind of gotten it together and helping the Niners as they try to make that push for the playoffs. I'm going over 67.5 receiving yards for George Kittle in tonight's Monday Nighter with the San Francisco 49ers.
My pick is with your old squad, Dan, the Vancouver Canucks, who are low-key cooking right now. They've won 4 in a row, and tonight is the final game of a 5-game road swing in Philadelphia. And my pick is Kiefer Sherwood for an anytime goal. He leads the team in goals on the road, and he just had a hat trick on Friday against the Islanders. So low-key, Kiefer Sherwood, anytime goal is my pick.
Ooh. Exciting.
There's a lot of Canucks fans. There's a lot of Canucks fans have been telling me on Twitter and the like, well, Reach, it was just you that was the problem. They just needed to get rid of you and Quinn Hughes. And now the Canucks, Dan Jinxio is gone from the Vancouver Canucks, and now you could just see them winning all these games. Maybe they'll even make a playoff push after this.
Well, maybe you coming to Toronto, you're going to be the good luck for the team. We'll see what happens there for any Toronto team that may be. I know the Scepters are nice tomorrow. Maybe you'll be bringing them some good lucks after they drop the game in Halifax. Now, we are going to be announcing the winner for the tickets for the most interesting seat for an upcoming Leafs game in just a matter of moments. Thank you for everyone who went and liked and subscribed, tagged a friend on our social channels, and continue that vibe. Whatever it may be, leave your comments because I'm kind of afraid to tell the guys right now what I'm going to admit. I was having a conversation with our producer before the show just about song lyrics, and he said that he did not know and he misheard the lyrics to Cotton Eye Joe, which is a very deep cut from the early 90s, and I still don't know the lyrics. It's just like words. But within the last couple weeks, and when I say this, just to put in context for those listening, I've been a music journalist for 15 years. I cover current music. If for much of people's surprise, I go to concerts probably every week, sometimes 5 a week. I love current music. I research it. But Casey and the Sunshine Band have the song Keep It Coming Love, which if you are in Canada is a song you would hear over and over for TELUS commercials. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? They'd have those little cute animals on the ads.
Yeah.
No,
I remember the ads. I don't know the song.
I remember the ads. I don't remember the song though.
Yeah, so they'd always have the cute little animals being all lovey-dovey. And until last week, I thought the song was Keep It Common Law, Keep It Common Law.
Oh,
I'm like, why are they here celebrating common law relationships? And I only recently found out that it's Keep It Coming Love, which I'm like, that makes all the sense in the world. Now I understand why they were not promoting ducks having common law relationships in this world. And I'm not joking. This is a real song. So are there any lyrics out there, songs that you only maybe recently or later in life figured out oh, that's the actual lyric?
So the obvious one, and typical me, I'm a Pearl Jam guy, as you guys may have known, but Yellow Ledbetter, what? I could still not tell you the lyrics to Yellow Ledbetter. I've been to a million Pearl Jam concerts, and when it comes on as they close the show, I'm just I'm humming along as if I know the lyrics. I have no idea what Eddie Vedder is saying the entire song. It's just so Yellow Ledbetter really is know? Nobody. It's just gibberish. But that would be the song for me.
When the website Genius, Rap Genius, or just Genius.com launched, that really helped for a lot of hip hop songs that I love. Because I can go and really this is what the homie was actually saying. The first one that comes to mind is, now this is a deep cut, is a Tribe Called Quest, a song called Electric Relaxation. And in the chorus, I think it's relax yourself, girl, please settle down. But I always thought that they said, relax yourself, girl. No, shoot, now I can't unhear the actual correct version. But it was Electric Relaxation. I bleeped it out. But we're sorry. Yeah. The Johnny Bauer. I'm trying to remember how we got on this thread, but it was a Johnny Bauer record. Yes, he got it. He signed it for you. Okay. Yes. And and we're going to award the seats for the. Sorry,
Cabbie, there's never any method to my madness. That's not how we got here. It's because I just randomly was singing the wrong lyrics. But thank you.
It was quite a detour, which I enjoyed.
You, my friend,
I'm still stuck on Cotton Eye Joe.
Do you know how that song goes? At like any lyric, I'm not trying to put you on the spot to make you sing. Like
I want to say, spread out the news to Cotton Eye Joe. I've been married a long time ago.
I've been married a long time ago.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Yeah, like the lyrics aren't that hard to figure out to that song. No.
But like, I don't actually know if we're singing.
I've been married a long time ago. Nope. Okay. Anyway.
Yeehaw!
Is there more to it than that? I don't think there's. I feel like that's the whole song for 4 minutes that you'd listen to.
There's a woman that sings
in 1995.
Right? Oh, I was in elementary school, but like I know that a woman sings at one point, but all I hear is like. That's all I hear when she would sing. I have no idea what the words are. But anyway, I'm sure people are out there. You misheard lyrics. Mine is, we'll get into another time, Country Grammar by Nelly. Oh man, have I butchered those lyrics for years. And I only discovered that I was butchering them recently. But Cabbie, you had this really cool experience where you had the most interesting seats at Scotiabank Arena for a Leafs game. And we've been telling people to go like, subscribe, comment, tag a friend. And I believe, producer Nick, you're going to put the winner's name on the screen for those listening. We will tell you who it is. It is... Cabbie, I'm going to let you read it.
At Kitty Firk. Congratulations, at Kitty Firk. You earned yourself a pair of seats to see the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the New Jersey Devils on December the 30th. Enjoy. It will be a very interesting experience. And if you hear some chatter about personnel moves or coaching decisions, let us know. Send us DMs and give us your secrets. We want you to go get find some nuggets for us and report back to the show.
I'm hoping that Kitty tagged Dan or myself.
Congratulations
to you, Kitty. Also, I want to know if that's your real name. Send us a photo of you at the game or some video. We would love to share it. We appreciate everyone who's listening. And if you want to watch or join the party, you can watch all of the interviews underneath the Nation Network on YouTube, because tomorrow you're going to want to watch this. You're going to want to watch every show. But we have someone that set a Major League Baseball record this year. Somebody that is known as the dog from the bullpen. We will be barking at him. Yes, we have Louis Varland on the show. I believe this is one of his first interviews since the post game after Game 7, which I'm one of the jerks that put a mic in his face. So very much looking forward to that conversation and seeing my buddies tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining us for Off the Roster.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and subscribe to the Nation Network YouTube channel.